But we're going to start in the tradition of hip hop, of African spirituality. We're going to start today with pouring libation. Now, how many people, anybody here know what pouring libation is? Anyone, students? My brother right here, what's your name? Say it?
Jay.
Jay, okay, what's libation?
It's when you force, like you forcing out, it's like members,
You ever seen when they about to drink, pour out a little liquor? Tupac actually had a song called Pour Out a Little Liquor. That's where it comes from. It's an African tradition. Hip hop is a part of the African tradition. So we're going to start. Now we're going to do a little twist on it. Usually when you pour libation, you can yell out the name of any ancestor. But we're going to yell out the names of MCs, rappers, DJs, people that have passed away, even people from your high school or from your family or community that you know that represented the hip hop culture, which includes a lot of things, fashion, even knowledge. People who seek all the knowledge they can find as a person. That's a hip hop person as well. So I'm just going to open it up. I'll say the first person, pour some water out for that person, an ancestor, and then we're going to go around the room and let the Spirit lead us, and then we'll get into our lecture. Okay, sounds good? First person, I'm going to pour. Oh, she's the boss. So when I pour the water, just say Hip Hop Hooray after the name, okay? So DJ K Swift.
Hip Hop Hooray.
Tupac Shakur.
Hip Hop Hooray.
Bob Marley.
Hip Hop Hooray.
Big L.
Hip Hop Hooray.
Biggie.
Yup, Hip Hop Hooray.
Eddie Light.
Hip Hop Hooray.
LL.
He's still alive, so we're not gonna kill LL here today.
Biggie.
Biggie, yes. Hip Hop Hooray.
Tupac.
Tupac. Hip Hop Hooray. Nas is still alive. These are people that have passed away. Big Pun. Hip Hop Hooray. DMX. Hip Hop Hooray. Heavy D. Hip Hop Hooray. Any younger people? That's right. Pop Smoke. Hip Hop Hooray. XX Extension, yeah, that's my guy right there. Juice WRLD, yup. Nipsey Hussle, definitely. Hip Hop Hooray. Sick. Hip Hop Hooray. Hip Hop Hooray.
Michael Jackson and hip hop. Michael Jackson. I cried.
Oh, Michael Jackson's hip hop. Who, Tony? Inez Gordon. Hip Hop Hooray.
Lil Scooter.
Lil Scooter, yes. Hip Hop Hooray.
Yep.
All right, that's it, guys. Ashe, we have brought the ancestors in the room. So now we're going to have a real conversation. Now, this part of my background is, I'm going to give you my hip-hop resume real quick. You know, I've been a hip-hop collector of music, sneakers, fashion, records. I may have had over, at one point in time, 20,000 records in my house. I probably have 150 pair of sneakers. I probably have 50 to 100 good books about hip hop culture. You know, when I came into hip hop, it was before the industry had taken over hip hop. So it was more of a culture than it was a way to make money. So the things that were significant to us were cultural. And then as the industry grew, it became a thing where you got millionaires and billionaires. But what people don't want to believe, but when I was a kid, there was a boy next door to you that was as good as Drake, and he was never going to come out. And you knew him, and your friends knew him, but it never hit the light of day. Nowadays, if you're as good as Drake, everyone hears you, and you're eventually going to make it. So that's the difference in the hip-hop industry and the hip-hop cultural world that I come from, okay? So that gives you, I managed artists, I went to law school, I was a lawyer for artists. I, started a record label. I got music played on the radio here in Baltimore, which was almost impossible to do when I was a young man, So I love hip hop and I've made it a part of my life, I became a Muslim when I went to college. That was a part of the hip hop culture at that time. You guys might not even understand that, but hip hop required that you had a faith proclamation when I was a young man, So everybody believed in something that was a hip-hop person. They had a belief system that kind of guided them through life, So hip-hop is a very important thing. Let's go through what hip hop is, and then we'll go to the family, and then I got a little icebreaker for us. So hip hop has several elements, and I kind of mentioned some of them. Can we get a volunteer to tell me what an element of hip hop is, as we define it? What is something that is hip hop? That's right. Lyricism, or MCs is what we used to call them. So there's a difference between a rapper and an MC. Does anybody know what the difference is?
MC is like, I guess, like nowadays, like more of a producer or something that makes like the beats and like the production behind the music.
Well, that would be kind of a producer. An MC.
So an MC is more of a lyricist.
Mhm.
It's more of a lyricist. As a rapper, the MC normally writes his own music. The rapper, he normally, sometimes he writes, but he have a ghost writer who writes for him.
That's a good point. The way I heard it, and the way KRS-One explained it to a group of us one time when we were younger, is that an MC says something that you never heard before. Like, you never even had that idea before. Remember when, like, Kendrick Lamar said, "Be humble"? Like, I had never heard that in a rap song ever in my life. You know what I mean? That's what an MC would bring. A rapper is trying to sell you something. So they're going to give you a little bit more of the language you hear every day. They're going to use the words you hear every day. They're not going to kind of push the envelope, because they are trying to sell the product to you as opposed to sell the culture to you. So that's the difference between an MC and a rapper. Any other elements that you've heard of in hip hop?
Like fashion.
Definitely. I think that's probably the prominent element in today's world. You know, like when I was coming up, it was lyricism, like you said. It was Nas, Biggie, Wu-Tang. That we didn't even care how we dressed. I remember I came home from college, and I went to college in Atlanta, and I was dressing so bummy in hip hop, and I went to a basketball game here in Baltimore. I was like, I'm a bum now. Like, I had totally lost lost perspective on what everyone else was wearing, because we were really in our own little world at that time. But now hip hop fashion, I mean, when I was a young person, you couldn't walk into some buildings with sneakers on. You could not work. Some places you had to have a shirt and tie just to walk in, okay? Or they would look at you like you were a criminal, you were up to something. I went to a sneaker convention a couple years ago, and to see in a Hilton hotel 50 to 60 black men walking in with just sneakers, and everyone saying, "Sir, can I help you? Can I help you?" I was like, wow, the world has really changed, and hip hop really pushed that. And fashion is the number one way I think people are expressing themselves and showing who they are and how they represent themselves. Like this young man right here, he's got his Oakleys on with his Nike hoodie, with the hoodie up. That is hip hop right there. You know, like even the way his socks are over his sweatpants, that is hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's saying more to me than a conversation would say to me. Like, I know how to talk to him, you know? I can tell my man has an Adidas jacket on. That's why he said lyricism. See, I can see the eye, because that Adidas was a Run DMC staple, okay? Which is an old school hip hop group, you know? But I bet you your dad put you on, or your uncles or somebody like that, or even your mom maybe, you know, put you on, and that's an extension of the culture. So that's another layer. He's got knowledge of hip hop, which is another layer of it. Can somebody give me one or two more layers of hip hop?
Culture be
Yes.
culture.
Culture.
Not like the foundation.
Culture, I would say, yeah, culture is the foundation. You know, hip hop came out of an African concept of a griot. Anybody ever heard of a griot? A storyteller, that's right. So hip hop is always telling a story. Even when we don't like it, it's telling a story. Even when people judge it, it's telling a story. Even when people say, oh, like right now what's popular, oh, women shouldn't talk like that, shouldn't rap like that. That's telling a story, okay? Because women were silenced up to maybe 10 years ago, okay? So now you're hearing what women feel, and they're telling their story. Now, it might not be what you want to hear, but that's what the beauty of hip-hop. Hip-hop makes people feel uncomfortable, okay? And that's why it's culture, because culture makes people feel uncomfortable. You know, the root of the word culture is cult. So hip-hop is a cult-like following. That's why people will fight all day about who's the best rapper. If you diss that person that they like, they'll hate you. You know, these guys will show up in other cities and kill each other because of something that they have said in the culture, because it is so prominent and dominant for us. It is our original culture, I believe. You know, that's why it took off so big. So so we have kind of defined what hip hop is, all right? Now let's look at what the family is, okay? Because we're talking about how hip hop has had influence on the family. What is the number one role of a family, in your opinion?
I feel like support is the number one role.
I would say that. I would say that. Anyone have anything else to add?
I do here.
She said support.
Safety, giving other people that you consider your family a safe place to come to.
Just safety and support. I love that. In the back?
Traditions.
Traditions, yes. Families have anybody, it's the holiday season. Does your family do anything special or unique during that time? That's a tradition. Hip hop has those as well. In the back. Oh, I love that. I didn't even think of that, but yes.
What she said?
She said unity.
I say knowledge.
So your family should give you knowledge.
Yeah.
Ooh, I love it, definitely.
Love.
That's probably number one.
Amen.
Babies die if they don't get enough hugs and enough love and kisses. So if your family, well, I'll put it this way. Your family are the people that are showing you love. It's not always your biological family. And that's the beauty of the hip hop culture. Hip hop culture is rooted in the extended family. Okay? Now, what else is rooted in the extended family? Black culture. Okay? All right? Black culture is rooted in the extended family. Now, I have a question for you really quick. Hip hop, did it replace the church?
No.
Tell me why or why not.
Well, like you said before, joining hip hop before was already something, it was an extension of your faith. So that's why so many rappers, lyricists, artists refer to their gods and their belief systems in their lyrics, because it's an extension of the faith. It's not a separation of it.
Okay. Someone else? Argument for it did.
Because I feel like it's not based off of the artist. I feel like it's based off of the people that's listening to them, and they gravitate to them so much that the rapper becomes their belief system, and not like an actual God.
I can see that, like we believe in the idea of Jay-Z almost like it is a religious thing. You know, the entrepreneur, the billionaire, that you can be the most important person in the room. That's almost a faith, almost. And trust me, when you argue with guys my age about who's the best rapper, they're literally ready to kill you over Jay-Z. Okay? Like, literally, he is like a mega preacher to men my age, all right?
Yeah, so music, like hip hop music, reggae music, rebel music.
Mhm.
So the music gave the people a voice when we didn't have a voice. Just like before hip hop, R&B, because remember the segregation with the Temptations, the Jackson 5,
Mhm.
they broke down the racial barrier. You know what I mean? Back in those days, our people sang the music no richer, but they had a white man, a white woman, a white child selling on a picture.
Mhm.
So hip hop, the music gave us a voice. And as African culture, you know, folklore, our spirituality came out in the way we express ourselves. So, yeah.
I agree. Wait me 1 second. I think hip hop definitely gave us a voice, and the reason why I asked the question of, give me 1 second. The reason why I asked the question, did it replace the church? Because my question to you all is that the church was our extended family. Okay, before hip hop, that was where if your family had let you down, you turned to the church to find an extended family, okay? But there was a challenge with that, okay? The church brought shame to people, okay? So certain people would join a church, some people would not, because they didn't want to deal with the stigma of, I might have to do certain things to make money. I might drink, I might smoke weed, my friends might be drug dealers. That was not a comfort zone for a church, but it was a comfort zone for hip hop. Hip hop has taken the stigma of being an everyday black person off of us, okay? Like, before, you guys are too young to know this, but they used to call hip hop people yo boys in Baltimore, okay? Yo boy, and it wasn't a good term. It was a negative term, okay? But it's so funny now that the yo boys run the world, okay? If it wasn't, Obama became president because the hip hop swag had made it official to believe in black male leadership. Before hip hop, before Russell Simmons, Suge Knight, and all of the people that came before them, hip hop was not a place where, the world was not a place where black male leadership other than church leaders was accepted, or academic leaders, okay? And that truly changed the way we saw the world, all right? So, influence, that's the last one. So this is my question for you. Give me an example of how your family has been influenced by hip hop.
I said that because when I was a dancer, when I was little, that just listening to music, especially for my family and my cousins being dancers as well, just like brought us together, especially at cookouts, like family.
Okay, next person.
I said that for me, for example, my sister grew up in a family who didn't take their education seriously. Hip hop was a way that they would learn about world issues and come back to have conversations with the rest of the family about it, and that's basically where they got their knowledge.
Right. Because you did have some hip hop groups like Arrested Development, Tupac, even somewhat Biggie, but Biggie has such a good sound. I think that's what was Biggie's, his sound. But they did address issues. One of Tupac's issues was, you have to, I'm not gonna say what Tupac said, but Tupac said, you gotta tell me why I don't have anything. But he used another word. And he was looking at the plight of African American men. And so, as well as the whole black community. So people began to say, well, why don't we have something? You know? And he did issues. One other thing that Tupac looked at, he looked at the family. And I think one reason why he's my favorite artist, I have to say that. But one reason why I started liking Tupac, he began to look at the woman. He had, like, Brenda had a baby. Yeah, that's a great one. And how Brenda suffered and how she had no one in her family to help her. Then he had one, Dear Mama. I think the Dear Mama one, where he gave respect to black women. And so that became how he, as well as artists before, even artists of the jazz period and soul period, they looked at the family, but he looked at the role of the mother in the family. Can anyone think of another artist who did that?
I would say not like the woman, but like Bob Marley.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just kind of like how I grew up. Like my mom and my dad. Like my mom, like that's her favorite artist, Bob Marley. So like as a kid, like always listen to like the message he had. If you listen to like One Love, and that's what I kind of take that into now. Like even with my faith now, I believe like everything we should like. I tell my friends like we should believe in one love, like one heart, one spirit. Like just kind of like, and then like I would say not like a Tribe Called Quest, but like. I was listening to Tribe Called Quest, like just the culture, like.
Right. You know, there's a movie coming out in January, February, One Love with Bob Marley. Right, and so he was very, and sometimes you look at the hip hop artists that we say they're hip hop, like Biggie or Tupac or Jay-Z, but there was people way before them had that hip hop. I know I looked at a documentary very quickly with my son about Bob Marley. I did not know he had that much influence over on the world.
Bob Marley, there was a war in Africa.
Uh-huh.
Bob Marley went to do a concert, and the prisoners broke down the jail, went to the concert. After the concert was over, they went back to jail.
Right. I heard that story.
Only 2 men ever demanded or 3 men only demanded that kind of respect. Bob Marley, the singer, Michael Jackson, and Pele.
And who else?
And Pele.
Soccer player. That's right, you're
only
right.
3, only of those 3.
Right.
So as for me, so I grew up on Michael Jackson, and a lot of people sleep on Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was the most popular until he started to sing about black injustice. When he started singing about black injustice, he was no longer singing about ABC and I love you. When he did the first thing he did that really made them start fighting against him was when he did They Don't Really Care About Us. Kick me, kite me, don't you black and white me. So he called out the Jews, he called out the skinheads, he called everybody out. They put a target on his back. He ran away and he gave a lot to the world. So for me, music gave me a voice, for my family.
You're right. I just recently, I'm gonna hand it over back to Dr. Lindsey, but I recently saw the Michael Jackson play they called the MJ in New York, and you saw that. David, you're exactly right about Michael Jackson.
Listen, every one of the time is 3 hours long. Louis Farrakhan did a sermon called The Crucifixion of Michael Jackson. And he broke down everything. Michael Jackson gave so much for our people, we don't even know it. He broke down everything about the songs, all of the songs, Kick Me, Kite Me, all that. The crucifixion of Michael Jackson.
And I'm gonna add a couple more things. Influence, like Michael Jackson was definitely influential, but think about how influential hip hop was. Hip hop pushed Michael Jackson out the way. Like I was here in '83, '84, had the glove, the jackets, and then Run DMC dropped, and we didn't want to dress like Michael Jackson no more. You know what I mean? Because it was for the first time we had saw urban black American culture be celebrated. Like a part of hip hop's history is that it does embrace all cultures. All cultures are a part of it, but it in its DNA is the verbal part is telling the story of black American men, originally, and that's why it was so fascinating to us and had such an influence on us because we have been silenced. Chuck D from Public Enemy used to say, hip hop is the CNN of black America, so we used to get all our news before timelines and social media and all of that. Literally, an album would come out on Tuesday. Me and my friends would sit together and we would try to learn what was going on in California or New York or my favorite rap groups come from Queens, New York. I remember I lived in New York for a while and it was a song Mos Def had and he said, I'm always on like Con Ed. And I used to always think, what the heck does that mean? What does that mean? And then I lived in New York for a summer. Con Edison is the power company. And I was like, oh my God, how do I know, a Baltimore boy, how do I know the name of the power company in New York? That's how hip hop had educated me and gave me, it had influenced me, And let's go back to, it influences your family. How did it influence my family? Well, I think in my family, I'll give you a story. It's a funny story. My mom probably don't want me to tell you this story, okay? Now, I graduated high school in '94. In 1993, Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg dropped. And that was like a megaton bomb in hip hop culture, okay? They were like the best melodic sounding music mixed with a gangster vibe that had ever happened before that time. And I had a maxi single, this is before you guys know about this, but cassette tapes used to have singles on them. And I used to drive my parents' car on the weekend and leave my tapes in there, right? And I had left the Dr. Dre Day tape in there, and it had some remixes on it. It was a great single, actually. And my mom worked in DC at that time, so she would just listen to what was ever in the car. I guess I left the tape in there. So she was listening to my Dr. Dre tape, and she told me that somebody cut her off in traffic one day in DC, and she said, something, you punk beep. And I said, and I said, I have never heard my mother say that, right? And then I thought about it. I said, it gave my mother some fight. You know, it gave my mother some fight. Like, hip hop said it's okay to fight back. Who saw a couple months ago when someone threw water on Cardi B on stage, right? That's right. And what she do? What she do?
Chuck that microphone at them.
That's right, because it's okay to fight back. Before hip hop, it really wasn't okay to fight back. Express your opinion.
That's because I'm from New York. Go ahead.
No, express your opinion. You're a New Yorker. I would love to hear what a New Yorker. That's what this is for.
Go ahead.
No, I want to hear your
No, 'cause I
opinion.
think I'm gonna say something later.
Okay.
That's the only reason. Otherwise, I would.
Got you. But I think that you have to realize that maybe these cultures were in other places, but hip hop moved the culture all around the world, okay? And yes, it was a lot of, like, one thing I loved about going to New York when I was young was information, knowledge, records, culture. It was all there, you know? Now it all lives on the internet, you know? But before the internet, the culture was in New York, you know? And then it spread. I remember I used to go to New York to look for sneakers. Like, there were sneakers that were not going to be in Baltimore. There were records that were not going to be in Baltimore. I bought my first DJ Red Alert mixtape in New York. You couldn't get that in Baltimore. I showed that to my friends in Baltimore. They didn't even know what it was. You know? So that's another thing. Hip hop influenced our geographics. People now can land in Atlanta and, what's up, homie? We know what's going on. People know Atlanta and have never been there now. I live in Atlanta. But people know Atlanta. They know my neighborhood in Atlanta, Southwest Atlanta. They know that better than me from hip hop, okay? So it has not only influenced us, but it's influenced the entire world and the entire extended family of the world, okay? And not just the music, but the companies are versions of extended families. Who here has ever heard of Def Jam? That's right. That's Def Jam. Def Jam is a family. It's a brand of a family. Who here ever heard of Wu-Tang Clan? Wu-Tang Clan is literally a family of guys that were probably going to all go to jail or die, and they came together and they saved each other's lives. Okay? And if you don't believe it, watch Wu-Tang Saga on Hulu, and you'll really get to see their story. Okay? Yep. Even with the controversy was going on with Bad Boy was a family. That's why we're hurt by what happened with Diddy, because he was a father figure to a lot of us. He was an uncle. He was a big brother. He helped. What you don't understand is that, you may understand this, but when we wanted studio time when I was young, there were no black professionals you could go to that would give you money to rap. You know who would give you money to rap? The hustlers, the extended family, okay? They would come in there, let you say your little raps, and then fund it. And then never care if they really even got their money back. Because it was that they were the only friends of black creatives 25, 30 years ago. There wasn't a GoFundMe, there wasn't a YouTube where you could put your stuff up. They had to believe in you, and most of us did not believe in people who weren't mainstream. Hip hop changed that, okay? Locks, people with different hairstyles, people that dress different, people that think different. I'll give you my final example of how hip hop influenced the family. When I was a child in Sunday school, Jesus was white. Okay? It wasn't until KRS-One came into our consciousness and supported our belief system that the people in the Bible were black. Okay? And it wasn't even up into the 90s. people would argue with you about those concepts, okay? Hip hop put a nail in that, okay? Hip hop, just last year, Kanye West went to war telling you he was Jewish.
Yep.
Yeah.
And laughed at him and think he was an idiot.
Yep. He went, and now a year later, I bet you a bunch of Jewish people wish they had the black community behind them, what they're going through. Okay? But hip hop gave us the ability to have a theological perspective on a grand scale. Okay? On a grand scale, hip hop helped push that. People like Minister Farrakhan, the Million Man March, those things were not my family, but a lot of my buddies, their family members didn't even want them to go to the Million Man March. Okay? But hip hop in 20 years since then, you couldn't imagine older people saying no, don't do something like that now. Because hip hop changed us. And this is the concrete example. This is the first time in the history of the world that your parents dance to the same music you do at a party. Think about that. Now, my parents, when I was at a party, we were listening to Black Moon and Wu-Tang and Queen Latifah and Naughty by Nature. And my parents' parties, it was Anita Baker and the Temptations and things like that.
They used to tell us to turn it up.
Yep. Yep.
We was listening to it, break our CD.
Yep. But now you go to a party, you DJ, I should DJ, you DJ for people in their 30s and 40s, and they're requesting the exact same. You trying to play like older people music. They're like, nah, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear what the kids are listening to. And that's what hip hop did for the family. More than anything, it brought us together in a non-nuclear way than we had ever been. So what it did ultimately, it helped heal some of the wounds of slavery and oppression. And that's why we love it so much. Okay? Any questions, comments, concerns, thoughts?
All right, so while students are here, I'm not hearing much about the origin. How did it come about?
Hip hop, a great example. Great question. Hip hop started in 1977 at a house party in the Bronx by DJ Kool Herc. Now, what makes it important is that DJ Kool Herc's sister helped promote that party. So I've heard this said plenty of times that hip hop has a male face, but it never would have went anywhere if sisters and cute girls and things like that didn't say go to the party and support it. Okay? Like most rappers, nobody believed in until their girlfriend or their sister or their moms did. Okay? So hip hop has a very interesting background when it comes to that. Now I know where you're gonna go with Jamaica, right?
That's where I was going.
But I don't totally agree with that theory because I think James Brown started hip hop. I think James Brown created the sound, the beats, the break beats, and he even said I can dig rapping. Now James Brown is from Augusta, Georgia, and a lot of the culture does come from there. Now the sound clash, the sound systems, the DJing, bringing all of that came from the Caribbean, definitely, you know. But during the dozens, and there's a lot of Black American culture. See, one of my challenges is that hip hop comes out of New York, and New York is very Caribbean, but then hip hop went down south, and down south is very Black American. So the sound and the talking are a mixture of all the cultures, you know? And that's what makes it so significant to us as well. And let's not forget the Latin community, okay? A lot of those sounds and those drums, those bongos, all those things, those were house parties in the Bronx, block parties in the Bronx that Latin kids were out there playing music, breakdancing, dancing, and they pushed the culture forward. And then we also, oddly enough, we cannot forget Jewish Americans, okay? Because Jewish Americans were already in the music industry. They were already setting up things. We had to partner with a lot of them just to get the music out and get the culture out, you know? So it has so many layers of cultures that have influenced it. and they believe in it, and ultimately at the end of the day, they actually love it, you know?
Alright, so I'm not saying it is from the Caribbean only. What the music we had before reggae is before James Brown, is something called mento.
Mm.
And mento is African.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking that the origin is totally African. Those drums you mentioned in the Latin American countries, it's not a white, it's not the mixed race you're seeing now, I call it. It is the African drumming from religions like Santiago, Voodoo, what we call Kumina in Jamaica, and it's that same spitty beat that we get where you bounce the sounds off. So it is more than just saying it's from Jamaica, the Caribbean. It is from Africa, but because we maintained more of our African beats, that is why it is said that it is from that region. And it's not that we're saying, oh, without them it wouldn't be. But those sounds, we maintained them more than that's why you said when it went down south,
Well, now
it would have been
somewhat, but the black church has those sounds too. And we have had those sounds forever. And the a cappella part of the black church, when they
well, that's what I'm saying.
That's the African, yeah.
When I say voodoo, what they call voodoo, they're all religions. When I say Kumina, they're all religions. And that's the black church.
I say this one quick, and this is a person for a lot of you might not know. I also believe, because I study music, that Jimi Hendrix was very close to finding hip hop. Like, he was so close, the sounds, the music, the things he was talking about, his look. He was like, Jimi Hendrix was like the first Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul type of person, you know? And then Jean-Michel Basquiat, he was very influential as well as an artist, the symbols, the pictures, the sounds. He had a band too. And, you know, these things weren't mainstreamed, but it's such a collection of cultures. And that's what makes it so powerful. Because ultimately, I do believe it is an example of the spirit of humans being expressed, you know? And that's what makes us all love it and care about it.
I just want to add, just real quick, you mentioned mentor, Dr. Judd, and that was what, in South Carolina, where my parents are from, we used to go to churches there on Sunday. They used to call it the meeting. I think that's what they call it.
The meeting, yep.
And that's all they would do was the mentor music, and it was wonderful. And this is the first time I realized that it came also, it was in Jamaica as well.
It's African.
Okay.
Those are the things that we still maintain, that's African.
Very good. So we're going to, well, we'd like to thank you, Dr. Lindsey, for your hip hop presentation. And a wealth of knowledge. And I remember when he was a little boy, he's my son, and he would play, what's that? Public Enemy. And I would say, turn that music down, boy. And he would say, a black man in America can't even play their music. And then I found myself listening to Public Enemy myself. Okay, we're gonna move on now. We're gonna break for 1 minute. Not a minute, it might be a little bit more than a minute, because we want you all to eat. And when you eat and you come back, we'll have a, Morgan, what's your name? MSU Poet from Morgan State University, and they're going to do something for us in terms of hip hop and poetry. And so, but we want you to go get your plate and have a nice time eating. We have a combination of African American and Caribbean food. We have beans and rice, we have jerk turkey, we have collard greens. You see, and the chef, the young man that was doing a lot of talk, he's from Jamaica, David Jared, he's the chef. I was saying collard greens, macaroni and cheese, candy yams, and rice and beans. So that's what we need to do. We need to blend our cultures. We all came here from one place, and we ended up here, from different places, but we ended up here. Yeah, same boat. That's right.
Oh, 1 second, real quick. I did not mention, you see me running back here, I do have a business, a company I'm running right now while I'm doing this lecture. On your table there is a flyer, and that is my company. It's called Fast Mentoring. We do tutoring and mentoring, high school, college education, all the advanced STEM courses, all those things. So if you ever need a virtual tutor, just give us a call or reach out or email us, and that's what we do. Thank you.
So, well, we're waiting for the food, so we'll go ahead and have the poets.
Representing Bronzeville, Maryland, Southern Maryland, you know, represent Charles County. I'm an artist, poet, photographer, videographer, just a creative, in God's eyes, elevated for Christ. This is called Fair Freestyle, so I hope y'all like it. Let's go. Hey, elevated for Christ, mama. We're gonna make it to the top one day. Everybody, look, hey, I said fear the man above, walking in your life, teach me how to love, fear turn to trust, media telling lies, world wanna say that Christ is a bad guy, he died for our sins, told me to repent, got me out them chains, free me from my sins, took a lot of L's, and now we took some wins. Look, I said peace, protests in the streets, too many people getting shot in the week, screaming, ripping freedom just seem natural to us. Seen too many brothers, man, souls lost to lust, in and out of pain. Seen too many people lose their way, suicide thoughts, man, I'm blowing like Cobain, bang. Look, I seen old cats talk about this ain't hip hop. They tell me what is hip hop. This music kill our kids like trends on TikTok. Greedy for everything. I call it a wrist rot. I tell my pops I'm bringing back the real back in this music. He asked me how I'm doing it. I told him I'm putting the truth back into game. These rappers out here making music call about the game. Look. Mama, we threw this game out, really rapping the game, defiant. Why these kids out here locked in these chains? I seen too many kids in my life rolling the chains. See the jail, bring your parents back. How you really live? I seen too many people rap out calling this. Man, it's called fear. F-E-A-R, man, my life is in the tears. See, mama really tears. See stress and tense making tears. Look, grandma used to tell me just gonna pray. Don't worry every single day, just wake up every day and call a play. Oh wait, he just called a play, calling Jesus every single day when I just testify my life, just how I play. I remember in the days, talking all this stuff was building rage, knocking out every single day. And grandma, look at us. I know you saw that change. I know you've been praying for every single day. Look. Testify my story though. I could tell you every single thing that I went through, and y'all would just be scared though. Talk about being bullied, pain is in my life though. Seen too many rappers I seen in them lights though. Darkness, I seen too many brothers in the dark. I've been grabbing on my people, bringing them to the light. Really in your eyes, look up and see the sign. Look up in everything and you might just see all the signs. We see people getting shot, people been get killed. People talk about my money and people seen these drills. Talking about y'all get sturdy, but brothers been keeping drills and running suicide lives. Baby, this ain't a drill. Where I'm from is really pity. Living life really in the city. I ain't really from the suburbs, baby came from the city. Talking pity. This life that we live in, grabbing the pity. I seen hell too many times. These demons give me some pity, but hey God, I need you back. I need you right now. I've been through too much pain in my life. I need to heal now. All the wounds I got, I've been scarred up from the back now. Scars on my back, ain't no slavery. This ain't witch now. Really, I've been doing my time. Really thinking my life. Always talk about taking your life. But thank God for giving me a second chance in this life. Man. Mom, we got you, man. Testimony a little bit, let me say a little bit. Grew up in a good home. Mama told me how to pray, but I wasn't praying, man. Listen, look. Hey, mama, man, we made it. I seen the stress you been. And pops, you been so traumatized and been like a kid. I see my grandfather on the deck. What you back to the break? Look, my grandma used to tell me just gonna pray, but I've been seeing on my low. When I was just sleeping, My grandma had a stroke. I ain't lying, I'm just telling you the truth that's in my bones. All this vein that's in my mind, they always tell you inside. I've been fighting myself so many times. Validation from these many guys, all these girls and all these guys. Seeking validation. Y'all can follow me at my Instagram at Jew the Juice Man. That's JUUDA Juice Man. Also do photography. Again, thank y'all so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Well, everybody, my name is Jordan. I go by the name Galaxy, rap name. I've been rapping for about 6 years now, and this is my song called New York Freestyle. You know what I'm saying? I'm a censor some things for y'all, because I respect all y'all here. Thank y'all for coming here. Thank y'all for the opportunity. But yeah, let's get into it. All right. Just gotta let the beat chill a little bit. Look. Listen, look, my name is Galaxy, see my story is untold. Got 2 sticks that hit to a center, call that a drum roll. I got some bars for you niggas that you should unfold. My flow be representing Avalet because I'm dumb cold. You really can't get lit with us, I suggest you give it up. Smoking on this pack, the green stay in the air like viscera. Some people think that I don't got that dog, but I don't give up. I switch it up on it, just keep on shooting till my get stuck. Wait, I feel like Silent with it. See, I shoot that fire round, explosive shit. So when I shoot, I'm known to let out fire rounds. Or I'll create a ball of heat that's literally a fire round. This heat go to its top, so now we call his head a fire round. Listen to me and your chick gon' look at some landscape. When I'm cuffing shorty, have a wrapped in arms. Now that's a bit, and my crew just as a whole is finished. I don't even know my limits, since I'm so conflicted. These arms will turn me to proto gigas. Body bag, I'm using it. My sanity, I'm losing it. I get some gold, these words gon' flock around for some. I'm suicerish. Usually I get used to this, but you was a foolish coming after what's mine. About time that I act a fool again. Wait, there's a whole lot of trouble that he don't know we in. Holy shit, we gon' break him down, start from the top like Roby and Phony. As all by himself, he only on lonely. Homies of his are really regretting knowing this boy. I'm cold with it, slowly progressing up to the top. I got homies of mine who jump for the gang, they ready to box. I get surgical with this, beat you with a stick or a rock. In New York with shit, I'm climbing right up and I never stop, so get back. That's me. You know what I'm saying? Thank y'all for the opportunity. My name is Galaxy. Y'all can find me on Instagram, GALICKZ _. That's me. Thank y'all for the opportunity. Thank y'all.
What's going on? I'd like to thank y'all for letting my club perform for y'all. You know what I'm saying? MSU Poets. Y'all can follow them at MSU Poets. My name is Kevin. My poet name, I go by the name of K2. You can follow me at Kev 2 times. That's KEV2XX_. You can follow my poetry page at Words from K2. Dr. Lindsey has asked me to write a poem about the family dynamic, so I hope y'all like this, all right? The name of this poem is called Vacant Housing. All right. Boarded up windows is the effort to fix what once was. Whether it's the house, the structural integrity, or the hearts of the people who once lived there, it's vacant. For most times, it's not because of the absence of green, because the color white and black is all that they look for. It's about 15,000 homes, 15,000 vacant homes in Baltimore, and about 1,500 homeless people living on the streets. Now, I know that you can't account for everybody, but I know about 10 people that's stuck in the same house, and the mom is the only person who's making ends meet, because there's a vacancy of somebody. In my mind, 95% of the time, it's that masculine winner who ain't bringing home the chicken dinner because y'all got beef. And now you're cold as a vegetable towards your kids, and your daughter is in the streets because she's looking for another fatherless man who's gonna act like a fruit, sour or sweet. And these type of vacant homes mostly affect the black community. 74% of homeless people are black, and 76% of black children are born into single parent households. But how can you hold a house together if the foundation of your home is compromising the structural integrity of your heart? Now your son acts sour and tart and treats every single situation like with aggression because he's mad, And it's gonna carry on throughout his childhood and adolescence, and as he gets older, throwing other niggas the cold shoulder as he begins to start playing with tools. Sadly, females are only attracted, or not attracted, to the 24% of men that was raised by fathers, because y'all attracted to them bad boys. Ones that will punch you so much that y'all will wind up getting knocked up and knocked out by somebody who ain't even your spouse. So while he goes to jail for playing with those same exact toys that attracted you to him, you got a child. And that child don't have no father, and now the cycle continues. Now the child has no father, and that compromises the structural integrity of your heart and your house, and the cycle continues. And that's why they call it the projects. If this was school, the government would get an F. See, they say no child left behind, and they were right. That's because they're not thinking of us. Look it up in the dictionary. Black means deaf. That's why we are called that. That's why you wear black at funerals, and that's why they want you to have a good mourning. Dark pigmentation, dirty, soiled, and scolding, transmitting little to no light. Sinister, evil, wicked, indicative, and just like those vacant homes, a condemnation. Just like in the movies, where they cast the evil witches to the slums, or what we call the ghetto, I know some evil witchmen in them vacant houses right now stirring in that cauldron, and they filled with liquid doses of spells that they give to women so that they can make little monkeys that'll go off and terrorize and destroy other venues, and just like that, the cycle continues. I was raised by a father who didn't have a father. So thanks to him, the cycle was broken. And because of him, I know that I can say these words exactly. In order to break this family dynamic, you must first have a family. Thank you.
I'm representing Dr. Gillian from her English one-on-one class. Her question, I'm reading off an essay from a questionnaire that she gave me. So, I'm sorry. Louder. What was it like working with the hip hop theme? I stated, while working with the hip hop theme in my class, the topic was incredibly rewarding and riveting. I learned how complex the topic of hip hop was from learning about its beginnings, where it began to subdivide, and how it's impacting the youth of today. I learned so much about the different varieties of hip hop and its subdivisions through research and peer sharing group. While researching my topic, I found it important to highlight the sexualization of women in hip hop. I chose to explore this topic because I wanted to highlight how the modernization of the genre perpetuates harmful stereotypes, objectification, and unequal power dynamics amongst genders. And I chose to use the sexualization of women as a lens through which to comment on broader social issues such as the commodification of sexuality, commercialization of the music industry, or the influence on pop culture on societal norms. As my topic with this was the sexualization of women, I curated my thesis with 3 major points. Hip-hop eroticizes women through sensually explicit lyrics, provocative music videos, and the adoption of hyper-erotic personalities for the success of female rappers. My supporting evidence for my points goes as follows. Sensual, explicit lyrics frequently objectify women, reducing them to objects of lust and placing a greater emphasis on a woman's physical attributes rather than her unique qualities. For my provocative music video point, in most of these music videos, women are often wearing extraordinary little clothing or are talked about in an extremely degrading manner. For the adoption of the hyper-erotic personality, an example can be Nicki Minaj, who rose to fame in the 2000s, and as her music career grew, her music videos, stage performances, and album covers often featured provocative and sensually charged imagery compared to her more childlike beginnings, where Minaj was often displayed her colorful and eccentric style as well as her animated persona. Overall, the focus of through my working class was on the complexities of hip hop, delving into its origins, impacts on the youth, and its various subgenres. This is why I found the exploration of the eroticism of women in hip hop to be particularly rewarding. I chose this topic to shed light on the genre, how the genre may perpetuate harmful stereotypes, objectification, and unequal power dynamic between men and women. I often view the eroticization of women in hip hop as a lens for commenting on broader societal issues such as the commodification of sexuality, the commercialization of the music industry, and the influence of pop culture on societal norms. To conclude my speech, I wanted to leave you with a quote to think about by Sister Soldier. Sister Soldier, whose benefit is it for your children to be ignorant? Thank you.
She's sitting at the table with my colleagues, Benita. She just jumped in and helped, and so we like to thank her for the decorations. Thank you so much, Benita. And she's from New York, y'all. And so the only thing I wanted to say, and I asked some of the students to come back in because I really wanted to share this. I share this a lot. I noticed that I don't share it as much, but I used to share it all of the time, especially when I taught the intro to fashion business, Facts 101. So I'm originally from New York. I'm from Brooklyn. My t-shirt says straight out of Tompkins. Mm-hmm. Tompkins is across the street from Marcy Projects. And who is from Marcy Projects? Jay-Z. So I wanted to share this because last weekend I went to New York. Some of you know he had an exhibit ever since August, but the last day was Monday, December 4th. You should have seen the lines out like for blocks to see his exhibit. And I really enjoyed it. It was called the Book of HOB. Some of it is online so you can see it. And I think I have a pamphlet here. But then also, just as important is an exhibit by Spike Lee, which is literally 2 blocks down. And the connection for me was, so I interned on Malcolm X, the movie, and so that's why I'm saying that I wanted the students to hear this, especially the students. We talk about this a lot. Professor Najma knows too. And what I used to say to the students in the intro to fashion is, it was my ability to sew, and just to sew straight is how I was able to work on films and work in the wardrobe and costume departments. Or in theater first, so I started in theater, and then I ended up on Malcolm X as an intern, and I did a couple of movies, other movies with him, so film credits and all of that. And I can't tell you how proud I was to be home in Brooklyn with those 2 giants of hip hop, to be represented like that. And they were showing, not just, because at first I thought I didn't want to go to Spike's exhibit, right? He has this jacket, which is our crew jacket. And by the way, a lot of the students that didn't know that this was me, so I love that. Thank you. We love it. So I knew a lot of the things that would be in his exhibit, but because of his stature now, and he has the funds, so he has a collection. He has Jackie Robinson, his medals. He just has so much in this exhibit. So if you have the chance or anywhere near New York, by February, Jay-Z's exhibit is over, and hopefully they'll bring it back and maybe in other cities. But Spike Lee's exhibit goes until February, and if you have the chance to see it, please. I can't. So I wanted to rep not only, I was coming like this anyway, but I really, by coming off of that weekend, I could not be more proud. Mm-hmm. Right, and I believe that nothing is an accident. Where you're born, who your parents are, none of that are accidents. And so sometimes Brooklyn gets a negative rap. Sometimes even if you're from the projects, right? Because I heard one of the poets say something about the projects. And if you really know what projects are, they're not just our culture, right? if you really know what projects are, right? There's negativity attached to it, and there's certain, I would say misnomers about New York anyway. But I could not be more proud than to be from Brooklyn after seeing those two exhibits. So I wanted to share that, of course, like I said, to rep fashion and merchandising department. But also to tell you, it gives me an opportunity to share what you can do with your degree. Okay? Yes?
Yes.
So I asked some of them to come back in just because I wanted them to hear that and to know that. And so we have one, it's a pamphlet that actually, even though, you can come up, even though I teach at Morgan, I'm a Howard alum, and so I received this magazine, and look how they rep hip hop. An entire magazine. Hip hop at Howard. So I don't know, fashion folks, we might have to do a little something at Morgan. But there's like they have each section by decades, and so he's just going to read a little bit of that to show you some other context about hip hop. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your chef, David Jarrett, aka Chef Ruga. So you can look me up on TikTok, Chef Ruga. Anyway, even before the inception of Black America to now, music has sent a cultural message to the masses to reflect the times on itself. It is said that Harriet Tubman masked the Black spiritual hymn, Wade in the Water, as directions for the enslaved to escape and find freedom. James Brown, say it loud, I'm Black and I'm proud, unified Black Americans reeling from the Civil Rights Movement in 1968. Queen Latifah's 1993 Grammy-winning song, Unity, or U-N-I-T-Y, dished the female perspective of misogyny in the Black community. Lil Baby's 2020 hit, The Bigger Picture, adds on the legacy of Southern rappers portraying the battle between Black male survival and white supremacy in America's social and systematic structures. From ragtime blues to trap music, music preserves Blackness in ways the world tries to restrict. Hip-hop's 50-year run is a testament to the diversity of Black communities and the genre's global impact to hold a mirror to the world's joy and pain. There aren't enough words to thank hip-hop. Here's Howard University's grand attempt. Thank you.
Or left. I think Dr. Lindsey and our English colleagues always outdo themselves. And then with our chef, it's like he's not just a chef, right? He's like a part of us and giving commentary and everything like that. So, yeah, awesome. I got it. Yes, thank you. I just want to say how proud I am to be here tonight, especially at Morgan State University and for this program. And it really has been an education. I mean, I've learned, I didn't really know a lot about hip hop growing up. But Derek, your presentation was outstanding, detailed, just like, wow, you know. So I just appreciate you coming up and just sharing your study, your research in that particular topic. And I loved how the way you tied it all into the family, which is what we're all about, right? And so I think as people of color, people of the African diaspora, you really have a lot to be proud of and thankful for that. We, as Professor Dickerson just shared, you know, just the history of our culture and the innovators and what they've done and how they have invested and how they continue to do so. So I hope that that inspires all of us, you know, that you're here for a purpose, all of this good knowledge and experiences that are being invested in you. we really expect you to go out and do the same thing. You know, really impact the world in a positive way because you have so much to be proud of. So thank you again, Dr. Lindsey, for just bringing this all together and everyone who participated. Really appreciate that, and we look forward to the next event. And happy holidays, everyone. Happy Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, all of that. So thank you.